Really doesn't have rubber legs flinging all over the place. So we already have some big rubber legs we're going to throw in, so we don't need a whole lot of wiggle in the body. Get some of my gold in here. That should be enough to... I'm going to do another two-tone. So I'm going to put in that tobacco brown in the front of this loop. Get a little bit of dark edge to it. If you ever have your dub loop kind of start slipping out, or it's doing kind of strange stuff, throw a little bit of this hair in here, the laser hair. It actually kind of acts like a Velcro to kind of sandwich your dubs in, and it makes stuff stick to it. So if you have kind of looser fibers, or I know a lot of guys will throw in Amherst pheasant tail sections and stuff, throw a little bit of this in there, and if you do it right and you're sparse enough, it'll actually hold your loops a little bit better. Because doing Flashaboo loops or any kind of longer fiber loops like that, it can be tricky. So if you have a material in here that kind of helps you along the way, it's not a bad thing to have happen. Alright, so we did everything. I'm going to put some Predator wrap in here. And again, I'm going to do it a little bit longer and maybe a couple more strands than the last loop. So that looks about good. I got about 1.25 inches here. And take it with my finger, separate those fibers, and start laying them over that loop. And this stuff is great. Just the clear or the pearl with the barring works really well. You could throw in maybe even kind of a green color, or red if you really wanted to, just to give it some color. But I like the clear. I think the clear is, to me, the most natural looking out of all of it. Okay, so I'll get and I'm going to come in this way, because here's my dark spot here in the tobacco brown, and I want that to be near the head of the shank. Alright, so I got that in my little loop here. You don't have to really use these, but they save so much time. I love them. They're one of my favorite tools actually on my bench. I've seen guys use index cards and try to pinch a material, and you can do it that way, but it's just so much faster to be able to do it just with a swipe of a little tool here. Alright, so I'll come in, give it one twist, and we'll look and make sure this is all spaced nice. And a little bit sparse. There we go. Alright, we'll give it a spin. Okay, there it comes off the thing. Get a little brush. See if you can really see that striation now in there. That kind of mixed white pearl with the tan or the gold color. That's right what we're after. Oop. And see right there, it did come off the loop, which is fine. I'll just hold it with my hand and brush it. Not a big deal. When you brush this, you want to go back and forth both ways, just to make sure all those materials are nice and blended. So come in here and really press and get these fibers on that one side. Okay. I guess I got some rubber legs that want to be unwieldy here. That's okay. After every pass, I go ahead and stroke those fibers back, because you want everything going backward, just to give it that nice uniform look. You start doing if it starts to turn on you, then it becomes a pain. So get those fibers to stroke backward every time you do a wrap. Alright, and that's going to be, I'm going to do one more right there, just to get that. I got plenty of room for that eye. Alright, I'm going to get my thread up here, and do a couple little wraps here to solidify that separate those fibers a little bit. Boom. Okay, bob and rest out of the way here. Alright, and I do have that locked in. And I always check it by, I mean, I'm really pulling on that, it ain't going nowhere. So we want to build nice strong flies that won't fall apart. Even on a big fish, or when you're, I mean, this is a heavier pattern. It's meant to be fished deep. You know, Mr. Brown Trout lives in log jams and all kinds of horrible places. And you want your flies to be tough. If you get stuck, it's one thing, but if your fly falls apart, that's not good. Alright, so we'll go ahead and take a bodkin and really pick this out good. And you can see already that those fibers are already tapered to be longer, and it's helping me build this shape up, which is what we want. We want a nice profile to our bait fish. Any kind of bait fish, you want a nice profile to it, because that's the first thing really the fish is going to see. It's going to see that profile. So you want it to be as pretty much as natural as possible to bring him in, and then, you know, all the little details, how it moves, what it's doing, that'll help too. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and brush this back. Alright, that looks good. I got a couple little strands up here we'll take care of. I do have a couple little crazy rubber legs on this one, so I'll just kind of trim those out a little bit. Down here there's a couple wild ones. I think you can do a little bit of preening, but for the most part you can leave it kind of buggy. Looks good. So now we're going to take some, these are actually from Cabela's, they're perfectly barred sand legs. Any kind of rubber leg will do. I tend to like the more silicone style, and these are like flat rather than the round ones that you see. Round are good for, you know, stuff like bass poppers or bigger pike flies even. But these are a little bit more delicate, but they have any little twitch of movement really gets these things moving. So I started using these, and I mean, I can't really for sure tell you that they catch more fish, but they sure look a lot more real when they wiggle. And you know, any kind of help you can get when you're out there, it'll help. So all I did was just double it over, and then take it back and wrap it down. And leave them hang just like that. You can do the same thing on the other side. Put them, just drape them over that hook or the thread. Pull them, get them about where you want them. Hold them in place and wrap them down. And there you go. You got two perfectly hooked legs on each side, nice and even. And we will trim those, but I wait till the end to trim them, just for the fact that it's a little easier to trim them once they're, you can gauge the length a little bit better once you have the full fly done. Alright, I'll go ahead and get my whip finish out here, and I'll just take these legs and kind of drape them over the body for now so they're out of the way. So we'll throw in 2 whip finishes here. If you wanted to,